Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I am going to be doing a building Q&A, answering all the questions that you guys have had about the building that I just bought. So if you want to see it, then keep watching. Okay, if you guys do hear like a bit of an echo while I'm filming, I am sorry. It's because my apartment is not like fully furnished right now, and there are like a lot of windows in this building, so sorry about that. But it is a 2-flat building that I purchased, so that means that it is 2 units. So I'm actually living in the upstairs unit that I'm in right now, and this unit is 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and then I'm renting the downstairs unit to my sister, and that one is 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So I'm currently not renting it out to any tenants. It's just me and my sister living here. So that's how it is right now. The very first question that I got is how much was the building? So this building was $485,000. If you guys do want to see what the building like completely looks like a tour, I did post a building tour on my channel. I'll have it linked somewhere or linked down below. But basically in that video, I just showed what it looked like before it was renovated and after I renovated it. And then I toured the entire building, both units, all that good stuff. The next question I was asked was, did I pay for the building in full or did I take out a loan? So no, I did not pay for the building in full. I did take out a loan. So to my understanding, there are 2 like main loans that people take out when they purchase a property, whether it be like a single family home or a building like I purchased. You can either do a conventional loan. So with a conventional loan, you have to put 20% down, and then you can do an FHA loan. So that's what I did. That's like a first time homeowner's loan. And with that loan, you only have to put 3% down. So my next question was, how much did I put down? So basically, like I said, the building was $485,000. When I was purchasing the building, the people I was buying it from, they didn't really want to go down that much on the price. So my realtor ended up getting me a really good deal, and she basically said since they didn't want to go down that much on the price, would they agree to pay my closing costs? And they agreed. So I only put less than $3,000 down to get this building. I literally put like $2,600 or $2,400, something like that, to get this building because the person I bought it from, the homeowner, agreed to pay all my closing costs. So I didn't have to pay any of that. And I went FHA, so that means you only have to put 3% down, and the homeowner like put some of it down for me. I'm not 100% sure how all the logistics, but I do know that when I purchased this building, I literally put less than $3,000 down, which is a really good considering the fact that it's almost a $500,000 building. The next question is, did I take out a loan for the renovations or did I pay for the renovations on my own? So as you guys see, or as you guys would have seen from the video, I'll put little clips. I did a huge renovation compared to how the house was to how it is now. So it was a lot of money, obviously, to renovate the entire building. I basically did like a complete gut rehab to this building, knew everything. So the only reason I went FHA is because I knew I was going to renovate this building. So say I bought this building move-in ready and it was 100% renovated when I bought it, I would have went conventional. I would have put the 20% down because I was buying the building as is and it was already ready. I didn't have to do anything. But the fact that I knew I was gonna have to put a lot of money into this building, that's why I went with the lower money down, because I wanted to use my liquid cash to renovate the building. So no, I did not take out a loan for the renovations. I paid for all the renovations out of pocket with my own money. That leads me to my next question. You guys asked me how much was the renovations. So I literally wrote down all my expenses from the renovations. So it was a little over $150,000 of renovations, and I paid for everything out of pocket. So that's, like I said, why I chose to go with the smaller percentage for the loan. So I will read you guys some of the expenses that I wrote down just in case you're curious, maybe you're trying to flip a house, because it was more expensive than I thought, but it was worth it because I bought a building in a nice area that needed a lot of work. But I knew that once I did all the work to it, even if I put $200,000 into the renovations, I knew that the building would go up in value by the amount of money that I put in. Because I've always been told that it's better to buy the ugliest house in a really nice, expensive area than the most beautiful house in a cheaper area. Because obviously, if you buy an ugly house in a good area, that property is just going to be worth way more, even just the land that it's on. So that's kind of what I did. I bought like a more uglier building that needed a lot of work in a really expensive area, opposed to there was some buildings that I saw, they were already turnkey, move-in ready, completely renovated. I wouldn't have had to do any work, but they weren't in as nice of an area. So I just spent the money to do the work myself, and now it's worth more, if that makes sense. So I'll read you guys everything, but like on the renovations, I only wrote down like $150,000 worth of stuff, but I know I spent a little bit more than that because as of right now, I'm still doing renovations. So the landscaping removal was $2,000. The material, honestly, I can't even really read you guys this because I wrote it very willy-nilly, but I'll kind of show you guys. I don't know if you kind of want to pause it and see. If you want to know how much I literally spent on every little thing, I guess I could like show you guys this and you could like pause it and read it. But I was writing down like all the stuff that I was buying and the price. So that was all written down here. And then obviously labor as well. So I don't know if you guys want to like pause it and read it or if that's doing too much, but I don't know. In total, I spent a little over $150,000 renovating the 2 units. The next question is, how much is the property worth after the renovations? So obviously before the renovations, I bought the house for $485,000. I put about $150,000 into the house on the renovations. So the only way to know 100% how much the house is worth now is to get the house reappraised. So basically I would have to call my bank or whoever I took the mortgage out from, and they would send someone here to reappraise the house, because I do plan on getting the house reappraised. Because when you go FHA, so like I said, conventional 20%, FHA like 3%. When you go conventional, you put a lot of money down, so you pay less on the insurance. When you go FHA, since you're putting such a small amount down, you're more of a risk to the bank. So they add an insurance. So on my mortgage, which my mortgage is $3,600 a month, I will let you guys know that. $300 of that $3,600 is just an extra insurance that I'm paying since I went FHA. But since I renovated the building and now it's worth more money, when the bank comes and reappraises the building, I can refinance my mortgage, and then that $300 extra that I'm paying a month will get taken away if the building is worth more, which I already know it is, because another building not far from here just sold. It was also a 2-unit building, and it sold for a little more than, I think it sold for like $620,000, somewhere around there. And the building was a 2-unit just like this one, but the units were not even as modern and updated as mine. So I'm assuming that it's worth in the middle of the sixes right now. I can't obviously 100% say that until I actually have someone like an inspector or an appraiser or whatever come out here and reappraise the building and give me an exact price. But to my knowledge, it should be worth at least $150,000 more, or at least how much money I put into it. I would hopefully more than that, based off the fact that a house literally not even a block away, another 2-flat building just sold for over $600,000, and it wasn't even as modern as mine is. I would assume it's worth somewhere in the 600s now since I put so much work into it. But like I said, I'll keep you guys updated when I do get it reappraised and I do find out exactly how much more it is worth. How much is rent? So before I purchased the building, I did purchase it with 2 tenants living in here. So I did not kick my tenants out. They were actually both ending their leases. I'm assuming that's why the person sold the building, because their leases were both being ended, like they were choosing to no longer live here. But the people who actually lived in this building before I bought it, the person downstairs lived there for 16 years, and then the person that was living up here lived here for 14 years. So they definitely lived here for a really long time. So they were moving out. When I bought the building, I bought it in June, and I wasn't able to start the renovations until like August because they were still living here. So I had to wait for them to move out before I could start renovating it. So the person downstairs, when it wasn't renovated, she was paying almost $1,500 for the leases unit downstairs, not even renovated. So obviously I can rent downstairs for over $1,500 because she was paying $1,500 when it wasn't renovated. And then the girl that was living up here, she was paying like almost $1,700 a month. And like I said, it was not renovated, it was completely outdated. So now I would probably rent downstairs if it wasn't my sister, because I am charging my sister less, obviously, because I'm not trying to make a profit I'm not trying to make a profit off my sister. I'm just trying to pay the mortgage. We could both pay our percentage so that the mortgage is paid. But obviously when I rent it to an actual tenant, I'm gonna charge more. So probably when I rent downstairs, I'll probably rent downstairs for $2,000, and I'll probably rent up here for $2,500. That's $4,500 in total. The mortgage is $3,600 minus $300 once I get it reappraised and I get that extra insurance taken off. So I'll be paying $3,300 a month for the building, and I'll be making $4,200 a month off the tenants. So the money that I'll take home as profit would be $1,200. So if I was not living in the building and I was just renting it to make money, I would be making about $1,200 a month. But I honestly don't plan on doing that anytime soon. I am super happy and content living here. I love that my sister lives downstairs. I don't think she plans on moving out anytime soon either. We probably won't even move out until we get houses. So we definitely plan on keeping this as like a family building. So right now, my goal isn't really to make a profit off the building. Right now, my goal is just to live here, which even like, so right now my rent or my mortgage to live here every month is $3,600. So I'm paying $1,900 a month, and my sister's paying $1,700 a month. So I'm paying $1,900 to have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in a really nice area. And before I lived here, I was renting an apartment not far from here, maybe like 5 minutes from here, still in the same town, and I was paying $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment with an office. So now I'm having a 3-bedroom apartment in a building that I own, and I'm paying half the price almost, and I own it, so the money's basically going back to me and I have more space. So I just feel like it's definitely worth it. Whether I rented it out, it would be worth it, or if I lived here, it would be worth it. Both ways, I feel like I'm saving money. Sorry you guys if like the light from the blinds is like in my face. I'm trying to like avoid it, but I feel like I can't. The next question is, what is my ROI? So that means return on investment. So basically, how much money am I making on this investment? Like I just said, as of right now, I'm not really making money off this building. This building is not putting money in my pocket. When you buy a building to rent it out, this is not like a get rich quick way to just be like a millionaire and be rich. In my opinion, investments like buildings and property are more of a long-term investment. So that's kind of how I see the building. I don't see this building as like a get rich quick type of thing. I've seen this building more as I want to own something. I want something that's mine. I don't want to pay rent to someone every month, especially because the rents were so high. Like I said, before I lived here, I was living literally 5 minutes from here in this same exact town, paying $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. So it is a really expensive area. So now I'm still living in the same area that I like, but I'm just paying less, and I'm paying it to myself. I feel like it's a better investment. If I'm gonna spend that much money a month, I might as well spend it on something I own than something I'm just renting. So the next question is, what are the steps to getting a property? How do you know what you can afford? And do you need documents and licenses? So this is how you know how much you can afford. So say you make $100,000 a year, whatever your profit is that you make a year, you have to times that by 3. So if you make $100,000 a year, then you can afford a $300,000 house. So 100,000 times 3, 300,000. That's how you know. So if you work for yourself and you don't work for a company that files your taxes, I would recommend, if you want to do something like this, is to start paying your taxes. That's the first step. You don't need a document, you don't need a license. I did not need a license to buy this 2-flat. It was the exact same process as buying a house pretty much, I believe. Nothing was different. I didn't have to have a real estate license. I didn't have to have a investment license or any type of license to purchase this 2-flat building. Everything was pretty much the same as if I was gonna buy a house, but I would just make sure you have some money saved, make sure you have paid your taxes at least the last 2 years, make sure you have decent credit, If you want to build your credit, I would just recommend getting a credit card. Sometimes you might not get approved for a credit card right away because you don't have credit yet. So you can start off just by getting like a little Forever 21 credit card or Victoria's Secret or a Target card, something like that. And maybe, or if you do get a little credit card, just use it for your gas and then pay it off right away. Just start building your credit so you can become a person. So once you think that your credit's good enough, once you have your 2 years of taxes and maybe a little bit of money saved, then you can reach out to a realtor. You can find a realtor by going online. You can find a realtor literally just by driving in your neighborhood and finding like a realtor office near you, or you can just Google it and put like realtors near me. There's so many realtors, you can literally probably find one on anywhere. So they're really easy to find. I personally found my realtor by accident. I was going on Zillow, and that's basically like an app that you can look at houses. So if you guys are interested just in looking at houses for fun, because 2 years ago I wanted to buy a house because I had money, and I thought like, oh, you just need to have money to buy a house. So I had money. I went to a realtor's office and I was like, oh, I want to buy a house. Like, look at how much money I have in my bank. And they were like, yeah, well, do you have 2 years of taxes? And I only had 1 year of taxes. So I wasn't even able to buy a house because I needed the 2 years. So I was still looking at houses in that 2 years. I was looking at buildings, houses, because I originally wanted to buy a house before I wanted a building. But I was just always looking just for fun. But you can look on Zillow, you can look on properties.com. But basically I was on Zillow and they had an open house for a building. And I went to the open house, and that's how I met my realtor. She was there showing us the house. And then I was kind of explaining to her what I wanted to do. And then she told me that she was a realtor. So then she became my realtor. Her name is Carla. She is the best realtor in the entire world. And yeah, that's how I found my realtor, but you can literally just Google it. How do you find a good property? So for me, the definition of finding a good property, one is location. I'm all about location. So you guys did ask me, did I get a building in the city or the suburbs? I personally got a building in the suburbs just because I'm not really a city girl. I'm such a homebody. I like to stay home. I don't like, the loudness. I don't like being around people that much. So I did purchase a building in the suburbs, but obviously there's really good areas in the city that are super expensive as well. Good locations could mean it's a really popular area, like something in the city that everyone wants to live there. Or if it's in the suburbs, it could be that you have really good school districts, because the suburb that I live in has one of the best school districts like in the state of Illinois. So that's like another reason that I wanted this property. And the two people who lived here were actually living here so that their grandkids could go to the school, because it is such a good school. So I think that location is a big thing. Second to location would be the actual property itself. So before you purchase a property, you're gonna have to get an inspector, which my realtor got my inspector for me. She got my lender for me. She did all of that. So the inspector is going to inspect the entire house. They're gonna look at the roof. They're gonna look at the structure. They're gonna look at everything in the house. So the most important is for the house to have good bones. So even though when I bought this building, it was super outdated, it was old looking, it was ugly. It's easy to paint something. It's easy to change the floor and do all that. That's easy. But when it has structural issues or there's huge issues to the house or the building, that's when you have to think, is this something that I want to buy? Because if the floors are sinking in, the ceiling's sinking. We went to a few buildings that literally, it looked like the ceiling was going to sink in because the house didn't have enough beams to support the house. That's not a good purchase unless you're doing like a complete tear down and building up a new house. It can have minor things because every house is going to have its issues. But if it's having like super bad issues, then that's something that you might want to be like, whoa, when I tear up this wall, am I going to find something that I didn't know was there? Because when you're renovating, there's always a chance that the inspector can't see something. And then once you tear down that wall or rip open that floor, or like I did, because we put new drain tiles around this whole building, once we ripped up, there was actually a water line that was going from the town into our house, the water line that needed to be replaced, and that ended up being a big thing. But there's some stuff that you're not gonna know it's there until you start opening up walls and ceilings and shit like that. So to find a good property would just be, in my opinion, is a good location and a house or a building with good bones. If you find those two things, then I think that that's a good property. How long did the process take? How long did it take me to find and renovate? So let's see, I bought the property in June. We're in February, so June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've already been here for 8 months, like since I purchased it, and I'm still not done renovating. So that's how long it took. It can take up to a year. I thought it was gonna be so quick. I could just do it in 2 or 3 months. No, it takes a long time depending on what you want done. I wanted the entire building done. Obviously, you open something up, you find another problem. You think, oh, I'm just gonna replace this toilet or this tub, and then you take out the tub and oh no, the freaking pipes are bad. Now you have to put all new plumbing in the entire building. So renovating takes a long time because you never know what's under there until you open it up. Pretty much all the renovations are done. If you guys watched the tour, I am still doing little things. Like if you guys seen on my Instagram story, I just installed like a built-in entertainment center. I'll put a picture here. I am installing like a little mud room in the nook, just little things like that. In the spring, I'm still gonna get the building tuck pointed. I'm gonna finish the balconies in the spring. I already started them, but they can't be finished until the spring. I'm changing the balcony doors to sliding doors. That can't be done till the spring. So I am still doing little things, but pretty much everything's done. But I would say that it's not completely done yet. It will take a couple months. I would say at least 4 months to 5 months, depending on how big of a project you're doing. So just make sure that you plan for that time if it's somewhere you plan on living. And just so you know, the whole time you're doing renovations, you still gotta pay that mortgage, even though you're not living there. How long did it take me to find a house or a building? It honestly took so long. I was looking at properties for over a year. The reason it was taking so long is because during 2021, I feel like it was super hard to buy things. Everything was a bidding war. Something would go on the market and it would get taken right away. A lot of things were selling for way more than they were worth, in my opinion, because you were going into bidding wars and everyone was just trying to move during that time. So I feel like some of the houses, because like I told you guys a lot of times, I did want to buy a house to live in, and then I wanted to buy this building just to rent it out, and I was going to live in a house. But a lot of the houses that I wanted, I felt like they were definitely selling for more than they were worth because so many people were interested in them. So I decided, let me just hold off on getting a house and do the building, which I'm so happy I went that route. But I toured so many buildings, I toured so many houses, and it definitely took months to find the perfect one. So it's not gonna be like, oh, I wanna buy a house and sometimes it happens right away, but I definitely would say take your time and don't like buy frantically. I felt like that's what everyone was doing last year. So that's why I really wanted to take my time, because I didn't wanna buy quickly because everyone else was doing it. I felt like the right building would come at the right time. What was the hardest part? I think the hardest part, what was the hardest part? Honestly, I would say the hardest part was just making sure that I was making the right decision, because I was scared that I would buy a building and then a week later another one would come and I'd be like, damn it, I wish I would have bought that one instead. So I feel like just making the decision and actually doing it, like it's one thing to look at the houses and everything, but then to actually, like, once you actually buy it and it's real, I feel like that's the hardest part. Just being scared, like, did I make the right choice? The next question is, did I have a budget and did I go over? So I think my budget for a house was around $600,000 or $700,000, or just for a property in general. I didn't want to go over like 700,000. But my budget for renovating this building, I only wanted to spend $100,000. Actually, at first I only wanted to spend $80,000 renovating it, and then something else went wrong. So then it was $100,000, because at first I wasn't planning on like tearing down everything, but after we started working on it, we kind of realized that we had to. So we ended up doing all new electrical, all new plumbing, but we weren't really going to do that at first. So I definitely did go over my budget. My original budget was 80, then it was 100, then it went up to 150. So then I just stopped counting because I was hurting my feelings. But I definitely went over my budget, and there were things that I went over my budget and I knew I was going over, but it's because I'm living here, so I went overboard. Like these hardwood floors that I put in here were $7,000 for like the floors and installation. And if I was just buying this building to not live in it, I would have never spent that much money on the floors. The new railings and everything, and the stairs that I did, all hardwood, those were like $2,000. I would have never spent that if I wasn't gonna live in it. My glam room, I spent a lot of money doing that custom built closet, putting a chandelier in there, having all the lights dim, doing the built-in entertainment center. All that stuff was thousands of dollars more that I would have not spent if I wasn't personally going to live here. So there were definitely things that like I wanted in certain spots because I wanted them for me specifically. So that's kind of why I feel like I went over budget. But I feel like since I plan on living here and I didn't end up getting the house, that was my, reason I spent more. How did I renovate? Did I hire a team? Oh, so how did I style it? So basically, I did not hire a team. It was just me, my dad, and my mom, basically. So my parents were my team. I don't have a management team. I wanted to pick out everything myself. I love interior design. I honestly got all my ideas from Pinterest pretty much. I already knew exactly what I wanted. So I wanted to pick out the cabinets, the floors, the countertops, everything I picked out. The appliances, the freaking paint. I picked out everything because I just really love interior design. I really love picking out stuff like that. And honestly, I would just go on Pinterest and see pictures I like and copy them. So I picked out everything, and I don't have like a management team that helps me with anything. How did I find a contractor and how did I go about getting permits? So the contractor who actually built or did the renovations actually was my dad's friend. So my dad has a lot of friends that do construction and do renovations. So his friend renovated the entire building. His friend's the one who like did my entertainment center and stuff like that. My mom's cousin is an electrician, so he did the electrical work. And permits, basically you just go down to the city hall and you tell them the work you're doing, and then they'll give you a permit for it. Sometimes the contractor gets the permits. Sometimes you can just go there and get the permit yourself. You have to pay for the permits though. How do I go about renting the units? So obviously I have never rented out the units. I'm living here, my sister's living downstairs. So I'm not 100% sure how to go about renting the units. If for some reason Lisa were to move out and I was still living here, I would probably try to rent it to somebody I knew, just because I wouldn't want like a random person living under me. But if I were to move out and Lisa was to move out and I was just gonna completely rent out the building, I might go with a property managing team and I might have them pick the tenants and then manage the entire building. But I don't know, maybe my dad would want to do it. I don't know. Once I start renting out the building, I will let you guys know, because I'm not exactly sure the process of like renting things out yet, because I've never actually done it. When my sister needs to pay the rent, I literally just can text her or knock on her door. So when I actually rent it to real tenants, I don't know how that's gonna go exactly yet. Is the mortgage less than renting? Yes, the mortgage is definitely less than renting, because the mortgage is $3,600. My sister pays a percentage, so I only pay $1,900 a month. And at my last apartment, like I said, it was smaller than this in the same area, and it was $3,000 a month. So it's definitely less than renting, but you have to also put into consideration the amount of money I put down. So I put down on buying the building, I put down on renovating it, and I spent like $200,000 on all that almost. So in the long run, I think it's worth it, but honestly, there's pros and cons to both. Obviously, if you own it, that's good because you're paying yourself in a way, but if anything goes wrong to that building, you're responsible. So renting sometimes for some people is better, because maybe they're gonna move a lot. Maybe they're not sure where they wanna live at yet. Maybe they don't wanna be responsible for freaking taking care of a building. So I think it just depends on you, where you're at in life and what you wanna do. But I feel like for me, owning and paying a mortgage was definitely the move. How did I look at properties? I would just use the Zillow app. You can also use properties, or you can literally just go on Google and it'll show you houses. Also, if you have a realtor, they'll usually email you houses as well. Do I have security and insurance? So yes, I do have security. I know people were asking me about cameras. I have cameras all around my building. My mom even has like the app so she can watch them. She's always watching my cameras, texting me like, you ordered DoorDash, or like someone's at your la la la. Like, my mom is so freaking on it with everything. Like, you guys don't even know. She literally has my location. She doesn't even let me get my own phone company bill. Like, I'm on my mom's plan still because she wants to be able to check my locations. She's always freaking checking all the cameras everywhere. So I have access to them too, but I know my mom checks them way more than I do. But we definitely have security cameras. I do have homeowners insurance. Basically, when you get a house, you have to have homeowners insurance, or else the bank is not going to give you a loan for it. So yeah, I definitely have insurance. And then the last question is, would I do it again? And if so, what would I do differently? I would 100% do it again. I would buy the same property again. I would do everything exactly the same. The only thing I guess I would do differently, if I were to do this again, which I do want to do it, buy another building. I'm planning on buying another building at the end of this year, and that building will be to just rent out. So obviously that process is going to be different. And I think with that building, I'll definitely buy cheaper, not cheap material, but cheaper material. Like obviously I'm not going to get hardwood. Obviously I'm not going to do everything how I want it. I feel like this building, I did everything the way I wanted it. I wanted it to all look exactly how I wanted. I wanted it to be my style. But I feel like if I were to do this again, I would just kind of buy things that are on clearance, because that's what some people do, that like they renovate buildings and rent them out. They just buy things that are on clearance. I would obviously still want it to be good, durable, and I want it to be cute, because a lot of people were saying like when I bought the building, I could have just rented it as is, which I could have, but I just feel like it feels so much better, and I feel so much more proud to be an owner of a building that looks like this, opposed to it just being the bare minimum. Obviously, if I were to rent it out, I would want it to look a certain way, so I'm gonna do that for the tenants. I'm not gonna just, you know, rent it out all willy-nilly if I don't like how it looks. Obviously, you rent it out for cheaper if it's not updated, but I don't know, I just feel like, why not make it modern? It's gonna be worth more money. People are gonna be happier about living there. They'll probably take better care of it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I probably will buy another building, hopefully at the end of the year, or I wanna do some type of thing. I don't know if I wanna do a building or if I wanna get into commercial real estate. So that's like, that'll be for another video, but I definitely wanted to buy some more real estate at the end of the year. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much it for my building Q&A. Go check out that video if you haven't seen it, of the tour of the entire building. I'm doing a lot more updates and renovations to the building still, so I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. I do want to do another video too, how to start a small business, because you guys know I have my Tina B dancewear, and I also want to show, like, tell you guys from beginning to now how I exactly started it and how you could do that, from like the website to finding manufacturers to get you inventory and all that good stuff. So if you guys like the business videos, let me know down below. I hope this video was helpful, and if you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.